So, hello and welcome everyone. It's great to have you all here in today's webinar. Today is February 12th, 2025, just as a reference if you are watching the recording. So today's title is Rethinking Customer Journeys from Touchpoint to Progress. My name is Mikko and I have the pleasure of hosting today's session. Before we dive in, I want to acknowledge that you are hopefully here because you care about understanding customers better and driving real impact and not just checking off another business framework. Now, you might or should know the classic customer journey map. It's a flow chart of steps and touch points. But the question is really, how often do these maps actually help customers make better decisions? They do give us a sense of structure, but do they really explain why customers make decisions or why they abandon them? And that's the problem we are tackling today. And we think there is a better way. And to walk us through it, I'm happy to pass over to Eckhard Böhme in a minute. Eckhard is an internationally recognized expert in jobs to be done, and also the creator of the Customer Progress Design Framework and the Wheel of Progress, which we will mention shortly today. And Eckhard has helped companies rethink how they understand their customers, shifting from passive journey mapping to actively orchestrating customer process. So Eckhard, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mikko. Welcome, everyone. First question, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So, all right, let's get started. So Mikko mentioned that, there is a great customer journey mapping, orchestration practice. And I have come from my history from a different background. When I looked at jobs to be done, combination with forces of progress and the timeline, we were interested in progress of customers. And during the last couple of months, we really understood the connection with customer journey mapping, which is so popular right now and totally makes sense. But we felt, looking at the traditional ways of mapping customer journeys, there's a lot of upside. And this is what this session is supposed to be about. So kind of going beyond touch points, thinking about how customers are interacting with our company and expanding that into the space of helping customers to make progress. So I'm going to jump right into the agenda. So what are we going to talk about? First, I need to address the shortcomings of customer journey. Let's call it mapping or management, orchestration or optimization or analysis. There are many flavors how people call kind of work in the customer journey space. Then I want to give you a new perspective on supporting customer journeys to become much more helpful as a provider. Then, of course, we need tools, we need processes, we need something to make it happen, to make a shift to a better kind of way of customer journey orchestration. Then let's talk about the benefits that we have seen during the work of customer progress design, and then of course we have some call to action for you and a Q&A. So we have a little bit time reserved for your questions. So what are the shortcomings of customer journey? Whatever from our perspective. There are really three big areas. The first one is that what we have seen that is a design of customer journeys is very much tied to a company process. Whether it's like a website, whether it's like kind of programs that are in place already. And it often reflects this kind of linear thinking the customers go through all the steps in a very linear way. But in reality, we know it's a total mess. I mean, customers go back and forth. Also, some customer journeys are really limited by these internal processes. For example, they don't really reflect the awareness phase that customers go through. And also some customer journeys don't reflect the the phase where customers are using new products and see if they are really satisfied with it. So currently they're limited in nature, and we like to look like more holistically because it totally makes sense. The second area where we see a lot of misses or lots of upside is the touchpoint often kind of miss opportunities. They are not designed to help really overcome friction. And when we think about our role as customer journey architects, managers, orchestrators, what do we want? We want customers to make progress. We want them to be successful, not to be held up by the process or not to be held up by their kind of issues. And also, we want to be encouraging. We want to understand their motivation, and we want to understand their context, because the context can be very different for very different customers. And thirdly, we want to create a strategy. We want, of course, design our offers, our messages, our channels, our vehicles in a successful way. And therefore, we need the right data. We need data that differentiate each stage of the process. And I've seen it just too often that there is like a one size fits all. It's like we treat every customer the same and not really looking from the customer perspective at their journey. And this is what I want to show you how we do it, and inspire you to look at the different way to do customer journeys. So this is a new approach. As I said from the beginning, when I started to create the Wheel of Progress 5.5 years ago, I really didn't think in terms of customer journey, but at the end, it really was. So I'm going to talk about how to rethink customer journey support, then typical questions customers have on their mind that they need answers to. Then we're going to talk about how customers get stuck in their journey. It's kind of a stage gate model. And then what insights do we want to gather? What insights would be helpful to us to understand the niche of each stage? How to address customers, also jobs to be done. It's not only that they have questions or need information. Sometimes they need to get a job done in each of these phases. And then at the end, we're going to look at how can we use data to develop the right strategy for each stage. Rethinking customer journeys. This is a very typical way to kind of depict a customer journey. We have a 4-phase model. I know there are other models. There are like 5, 6, probably 7 phase models. But when we created our model that is very simple, we try to do it from the customer point of view, not from the provider point of view, which means in each of these phases, customers have different needs. And you may wonder, why is there not like a loyalty phase? Because from our perspective, loyalty is not a phase. There is no beginning, there is no end. And this is really what characterizes a phase or a stage. I'd rather prefer the term stage than a phase, because I know people can go back. It's not like this linear process where they follow step by step. Sometimes they go back to zero to start. And loyalty is a behavior, and it's a desired behavior. But in our world, it's not a discrete phase. So let's take a look at how can we make a difference. How can we think different about customer journey? So first thing I want to mention is about helping customers make progress. And we can do that by providing dedicated support in each of these stages. We can do it by supporting customers overcome friction in the process, and we can help them to get the job better done. That's the whole reason why they enter this journey, is like to perform their core job to be done better than before. But how can we do this? First is execute a customer orchestration in a new way. I know many of you do customer research, they do qualitative research, maybe some of you are doing synthetic data, whatsoever, but gathering data. But in our world, learning the real customer journeys is very structured. It's very dedicated to these phases. So that's how we ask our questions and really try to understand phase or stage by stage what the issues are and the needs. So yeah, understanding what customers need to solve at every stage is of utmost importance, and designing them strategies also for every stage. Very consciously using the right data, because the goal of it is to help customers to move from one stage to the next one. So now let's take a look at questions customers may have in each stage. In the passive search stage, even before they enter this, for them it's like a go, no-go decisions. Do I go or do I stay? Is my pain big enough to make a kind of a step to active search? In the active search phase, is like most often what we've heard is like, I don't know what I want and I don't know what I need. So they certainly need help with that. And then the trade-off phase is like, what is the right product or service? Is this the right product? Or maybe I want to do something like do it yourself, or maybe I don't do anything. It could be as well. And then the question is, does the solution meet my needs? It's not for, we cannot take it for granted. And customers buy our product that they're satisfied. And we all have made the experience. We bought something on Amazon and used it and thought, it's not like what they promised it to be. Or maybe I had to recalibrate my expectations. So these are typical questions that customers have in these phases, and they lead to like these stage gates. So if customers don't answer successfully certain questions, they're not going to move on. The first one between passive search and active search is my problem big enough? Is it large enough to start tackling it? Maybe it's a little problem. Maybe it's just this first thought, and they think, well, maybe it's not that severe, and I don't bother actively searching. Maybe the time is wrong. The next one could be, do I know what I want? Or do I know what kind of solution best fulfills my desires? Even people can get stuck at that because it's too much work to find out what they want. Maybe sometimes they cannot express what they want. Maybe they are confused what they need. And in the trade-off between trade-off and experience, then have I found the right solution? And between experience and new habit, does this new solution meet my needs or my expectations? So there are all these hurdles in the way, and they can get stuck everywhere. And we can help customers to be honest, but we need the right insights. And so this is our data model, what we look for in each of these phases. In the passive search phase, it's first thoughts and pains, and you can see in active search, we now have events, we have desires, things people want to achieve. We have, of course, jobs to be done. Jobs to be done is not something only tied to the experience phase, just to the core of job. We have customer buying jobs that are equally important sometimes. Sometimes they are even more difficult than buying a product and using it. We have in the trade-off phase also, we have data that we look for, and in the experience phase. And to discover this data and also determine what data ties to what phase of the journey is not that easy. It would be great if it would just kind of, hey, let's collect data and then assign it to any of these phases. It's a demanding, it's a task. It took us many years to really understand how to map the data to these phases, because you need to take it out of the context of a customer interview. And we have customer jobs to be done, of course, as I said. We don't have customer jobs in the passive search phase because there's really nothing to do other than becoming aware. But we have in the active search, we have in the trade-off phase, and we have in the experience phase, as you can see, customer jobs to be done. And in each of these phases, we can help customers getting these jobs done. So this is kind of the theory. Now I want to show you an example. It's an example of a customer that we interviewed using our wheel of progress, which is a canvas. It's more like a board where you can depict the customer journey. And I'm going to show you like 2 minutes of it. And then you can see how we are mapping customer interviews, even in real time, to this tool. And then we're going to look at what came out of the interview. So I hope you can hear the sound. So that should be enough. What you've maybe noticed is that we have a color code, we have different areas on this wheel of progress. So when we do these interviews, we can do it in real time, we can do it after the interview using the transcript or the audio file. And we even have an AI solution that helps us to fill out the wheel of progress. But the benefit is, and I'm going to show this on this next slide, what comes out of these interviews that helps us really to structure the data around these stages. And so here are some data points, like in this passive search phase. Our interviewee was really fed up with being late to appointments with a child. She was a French living in Bristol and didn't want to drive on the wrong side of the road. At least it felt to her. And also was annoyed by public transportation with a little kid, and she was pregnant, and that didn't work out in the active search phase. It was something different. Of course, she wanted to understand if a cargo bike would be the right transport option for her. In the trade-off phase, she wanted to make sure that she buys the right model. There were different versions with 2 wheels, 3 wheels, and cargo box in the front and the back. Which one is the right one? In the experience phase, it was She wanted to realize all the benefits of riding a cargo bike. So this is what we typically collect in terms of data. And then when we have the right data, like doing these interviews, maybe we do 10 interviews and we consolidate the data, then of course we want to develop a strategy for each of these phases to help customers get through the customer journey. So in terms of the passive search, what we can do is really here to encourage customers to start their journey. Maybe customers don't, or many customers don't, they procrastinate. They don't want to get started. It's hard for them. We can encourage them in the active search. Of course, we can inspire them to understand what they want and what they need. In the trade-off phase, we can give them advice, choosing the right product. In the experience phase, we want to make sure that we serve them well so they achieve their desired goals. And also for this phase, we do have a tool which is called the Wheel of Progress Transmission Canvas, where we use data from the interviews, from the aggregated interviews, put them in here. I'm going to show that on the next slide. And then we develop for each of these 4 phases a strategy, how to help customers. It looks like this. We have the same kind of location of these phases, and we start at the top left with the passive search, then active search, then trade-off, and then experience. In these red framed areas, you can see the areas where we put in the data that should inspire us, that should help us to come up with the right strategies. And we can also put in some data from that we find in other examples, like other artifacts, examples of what other companies have done, populate all kinds of information here that help us to inspire creative ways how to solve customer problems. So I'm looking at the clock. We have like 5 minutes. Let's talk about benefits of designing for progress. By doing this, by thinking more like about progress and not so much about just touch points, we can help more customers start their journey. We can help more customers make it through the journey. So we increase the number of people who will buy our products, of course. The likelihood that customers like us because we become the most helpful provider is a huge opportunity here. And we have also the chance to serve the right persona, because when we design these for these phases, we can really customize it for the people we want to make successful in our process. And of course, the result of all of this should be creating sustainable growth, having more loyal customers, having more customers, and the customers who are on the journey, help them to successfully complete their journey. So here's my call to action. First of all, support the customers during their entire journey. So if you want to take it really to heart that you care about customers, so you can think about how can I encourage them? How can I inspire them? How can I advise them better? And how can I serve them better? Understand what hurdles customers need to overcome at every stage. I think this is one of our main jobs as customer journey specialists, managers, orchestrators, whatsoever, helping them to get through these stage gates, and also design the right strategies to help customers make progress. So if this all makes sense, what I presented, and we have done this for more than 5 years by now, then you can also get started with this kind of thinking, with this kind of concept. And the first thing would be that we recommend is just book a 30-minute meeting with Miko and I, and let's discuss about your challenges maybe on the job, maybe your wins, but maybe you have some goals for this year. Then, of course, we highly encourage to engage with stakeholders, share and discuss this presentation. I think we were the first ones combining really customer journeys with jobs we done, which makes a big difference because it makes kind of the jobs that you want to apply for much more meaningful and more visible. You can run a test. We have an interview in a box offer there where we take your interview and run it through our engine and create a report with Wheel of Progress and your items mapped to it. But also you can create your own capability as an individual. We have a 12-week training coaching program. We do in-house training. And as I said, we have an AI companion, which we will talk about next week in our webinar. And of course, you can outsource kind of the whole project to us, and we do it with some input, of course, and a certain degree of involvement. Some companies want to do that; they don't want to be trained, and that's okay too. And this is how you can get started. And then I'm gonna stop my presentation. And then we can do a Q&A.
Okay, so that was, I hope you found that as insightful as I did. And really, it kind of, I hope that it sparks some new ideas and gives you a fresh perspective on how to better support your customers in their buying journey. And always remember that it's not just about mapping where they go. It's about more understanding what moves them forward. He wasn't able to join.
Okay. Well, if you're interested, we also have some case studies on our website under uniprosolutions.com. We have lots of content, examples, case studies. As I said, we describe our method. It's all based on customer interviews because this is the only way to get all the context, the rich context, and that is necessary to really understand how people struggle to make progress and how successful they were. As I said, in order to get started, we have an AI companion in beta right now that really helped us to do the hard work of completing the Wheel of Progress. It's just amazing. I mean, you just click a few buttons and then a few moments later you have like a Wheel of Progress full of data and can work with that. And it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference just not kind of designing from the inside out, adhering to processes, but really to take in all the customer experience in trying to make progress.
So what we also learned by using the AI companion is that it's really a neutral thing. So we sometimes tend to have our own understanding or our own bias to certain things. So it might affect us in certain direction, and it's good to have this kind of a neutral person, virtual person, the AI companion in the room, and he or she then gives us these neutral statements, what he hears.
Yeah.
Okay.
There will be a recording. Just to mention that quickly, there will be a recording of the session. So if you want to share it with someone else, if you think can you think of someone who would be interested, feel free to forward it. And Miko, I'm going to hand over.
Yes, so the same link works for the recording as well, and there will be a reminder. Hopefully it works this time. Last time we had some problems, so 24 hours later, there is a link sent to you that you can also hear the recording, but you can also forward the link to anybody now, and they just have to register and they can hear the recording then as well. So Next week is the next possibility. That's when we plan the next one. We keep these short so that everybody can carve out maybe 30 minutes instead of doing like 60 minutes or more. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good to have you there. Bye now.
Bye-bye.